Whoa, 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 hey, 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 hey! Psych!
Peret Em Heru, going forth by day or emerging forth into the light, or colloquially known as the Book of the Dead. The Book of the Dead is not a single book, it is more a collection of texts, funerary texts to be exact. It is a guide to the afterlife and is filled with various spells and incantations to guide the lost soul to the afterlife. It is also a game called Peret Em Heru for the prisoners, meaning the Book of the Dead for the prisoners. Developed for the PC-98 using the software RPG Maker Dante 98.2. RPG Maker Dante 98.2 is a bit of a precursor to the well-known RPG Maker series. It was very easy to use, and there was a bit of a cultural boom in Japan with RPGs at the time. A lot of games were made due to inspirations from Final Fantasy and the like. As a result of its ease of use, there were ton of homebrew /indie /doujin titles. One notable example of a series that saw great success would be Corpse Party or Touhou, whatever. Corpse Party had its humble beginnings as an indie title built using Dante 98 that has eventually become the fairly large franchise that it is today. Also, you have some notable examples like Batlancer and Disaster. The game starts with a very simple tutorial which gives you the bare basics. You can push things over, you can pull doors and cupboards open, and you can recruit party members. After a little introduction, we are introduced to Professor Tetsuya Tsushida and his assistant, Koji Kuroe. Now, Professor Tetsuya has come here to Egypt because he believes that under the Great Pyramids of Giza are much older ruins that have been undiscovered for centuries, if not thousands of years. We're then introduced to arguably the most important character in the story, Hired Miner. Now, Hired Miner is, as his name suggests, a hired miner. His job is to gain entrance to the underground temple / tomb of Khufu. Professor Sushida finds the door locked or it's just too heavy for him to open. So they call in hired miner to assist. Hired miner gets fucking murked right before our very eyes. Professor Sushida discovers the door has a hidden booby trap, a very thin fiber wire. Then, after some discussion, they decide Professor Sushida decides that the best course of action is to gather a team of tourists to help them assist in either excavating or exploring these unknown ruins. We're then introduced to our protagonist for the game, Ayuto, a young schoolboy, probably high school, I'd say, here with some of his classmates on a tour of the Egyptian pyramids. Ayuto pushes his way through the doorway, and he discovers a massive underground lake with a very silvery / metallic texture to it. And then he proceeds to call the rest of the group over to come have a look. Sushida congratulates Ayuto on his discovery and tasks him with exploring the ruins further. There's a little bit of little character interactions here and there, trying to recruit people, but nothing noteworthy yet. It's just fluff. And here we can already see some cracks starting to form within Kuroe and Sushida's working relationship. Sushida seems to be blinded by his need to make a groundbreaking discovery, and he's willing to put anything at risk. And Kuroe, as merely his assistant and as a normal person, is starting to distrust him. And it is an RPG, so we get introduced to our first combat scenario. Very simple. It's just like most RPG Maker games. You know, you've got fight, auto, run away. Find a stone pillar, and the professor tasks us with finding a way past the pillar. We knock it over, creating a path. professor investigates the mummy and talks about how some mummies are known to be well preserved until exposed to outside air, upon which they disintegrate or decay very rapidly, and he tasks us with finding a way to get the ship moving so we can continue forth with our little adventure.
You're going to die for that.
Yuto gets haha funny prank by the little girl, gets pushed aside by his fellow schoolmate, and then shortly after this little interaction the ship starts sinking, and the professor tasks us with finding a way to stop the ship sinking or to reduce weight or whatever the hell we can do in this situation. We do what any sane person would do in this situation. Unfortunately, we can't kill the child. We decided to push the mummy off because, I mean, you know, a desiccated corpse is somehow going to be enough weight to keep the ship from sinking. We fall in the water, or rather we get pulled in, and the mummy attacks us while we're fighting for our life. We fight the mummy. And then we come to in a new scene. Yuto gets saved by his classmate Kyosuke. Kyosuke? Unsure. And then it seems that nobody else saw the mummy attack Yuto, and they think he's going crazy.
He don't remember addressing you.
According to the professor, we're either in the actual Egyptian afterlife or a tomb or temple built to mimic what the Egyptians viewed as the afterlife. Professor sent 3 other members of the group forward to explore while the Yuto was out. And we encountered 2 of them, Tall Man, which we don't know the name of yet, and the tour guide, who we learn is Saye Atogi. And she offers to join our team because she refuses to stand by idly any longer. We encounter the child yet again, who spins a fable about there being a monster down there that's threatening her, and draws us closer to the stairwell, where lo and behold, she pushes us down the stairs.
You c***!
Deploying flashbang.
So we make it down to the lower level, well, the entire group, I mean, and the professor translates some of the hieroglyphics on the walls for us, and it says, "The blameless one shall show the way." And we also learn that the ancient Egyptians considered children to be blameless. Yuto puts forth a very well-founded argument that not all children are blameless and good at heart. Rin is a perfect example of this. So the demon spawn throws a tantrum and runs away, and then it is once again up to our protagonist to go and rescue the little demon. And so we recruit Saye Atogi for our exploration party, and then we proceed forth. So we proceed, there's a few combat encounters with some frogs, nothing spectacular, and then we make our way to the room where Rin is waiting for us. So we proceed, there's a few combat encounters with some frogs, nothing spectacular, and then we make our way to the room where Rin is waiting for us.
I told you. You die for that.
Rin gets impaled by a statue. Wouldn't necessarily say that she deserves it, but well, she deserves it. That's the end for part 1. I'm still trying to get a editing style that I like. I keep back and forth in my mind what I want to do and what I don't want to do. I do see my videos, they tend to just be empty dead air, and then me explaining what someone can see on the screen, and I don't know, I haven't really figured out how to do, good summaries like the kinds of YouTubers like K-Bash, Majular, Dungeon Chill, Boulder Punch sort of do. But it's all a learning process. So anyway, I'll hopefully see you guys on the next one. Hopefully soon. This one took 3 weeks, 4 weeks to get out. Yeah, we'll see.
It's good to see you. Gordon, you lousy motherfucker. Get your dork ass down to the test chamber or else I will shove the sample up your ass. And stop fucking with the microwave.